Hi everyone! I decided to stop Junie B. Jones because my mom made me read it for homework when I didn't have a very long book for homework and I had to read for 30 minutes. So I have a new book and it's recommended from one of my African American watchers, Keena Ford. I got this from my school library, Keena Ford and the Field Trip Mix-Up. Let's read about Keena Ford. And this little black girl inspired me to have a new room when I am 10, because I'm really tall for my age. So she inspired me to get a new bedroom, and it's when I'm 10. And when I'm 10, I'm going to grow out of that bed and get a teenage bed when I'm not even in my teens. Still in my 10s or ones, whichever. Anyway, let's get to Keena Ford and the Field Trip Mix-Up. Keena Ford inspired me to be my true little inner black girl. Keena Ford and the Field Trip Mix-Up. She's running for student council. If you vote for Keena Ford, you won't be bored. Well, other way around. You won't be bored. Anyway, Wednesday, September 29th, 10 a.m. I'm Keena Ford. And I'm the most important person in this journal because it's my journal. She wrote "my" in big letters. This is my second journal. I got a new journal because I wrote in my old one so much that I filled it right up. I actually got my new journal a few days before I finished my old one. Obviously, Junie B and Keena Ford have something in common. The little black girl who recommended this, I bet she knew that. I got it when we had to go to the bookstore to buy my brother Brian. I got it when I had to go to the bookstore so my brother Brian could get the thesaurus. Because my dad can hear me and he was the one who gave me the tip. Thesaurus. For middle school. I was very excited to pick up Brian's thesaurus. I think. Correct me in the comments. Thesaurus. Because I thought maybe it was kind of a dinosaur or a lizard. Like a stegosaurus. Which is the best kind of dinosaur? But it turns out that the thesaurus is just a book of words that mean the same thing as other words. For example, some words that mean same things as quiet or still, restful, silent. Die quote. If you can see that, die quote. Other page. Not really die quote. Here we go. I told these to Brian when I was reading off his thesaurus in the bookstore, and he told me in a very mean voice to be quiet. He thinks he knows that. But Keena's amazing. I found out there is no other word for thesaurus than the thesaurus. My new journal is so cool. It has a picture of clouds and rainbows and angels on the cover. Brian said, "There's no way I would write in a girly-looking journal like that." And I said, "Good, because it is not yours." I thought that was a pretty good one, but Brian just stuck his tongue out at me. And then Dad said it was time to go. Nah. He drove us back to our apartment in Washington, D.C., where we live with our mom during the week. On the way to D.C., we listened to the radio in Dad's car. We always listen to Dad's favorite radio station, which is just talking and no music. Here's a picture. That's their dad. I think it is about the news and how much traffic there is and stuff like that. Brian used to ask Dad if we could listen to music. Dad said that when Brian grows up and gets a job and buys his own car, he can listen to whatever radio station he wants. Brian calls Dad's radio station, "I know that's radio." I know that's radio. Because when the radio people talk on the government or the news, Dad says, "I know that's right." I know that's radio is really boring, but it is funny to hear Dad talk back to the radio people. I'm glad I'm starting my new journal today, because today is a very important day. It is the day of the class election for student council. Keena Ford is running. Keena Ford is running. That is for you. Anyway, the kids on the student council are kind of like bosses of activities like the bake sale and spaghetti night. The kids on student council also get to go to meetings 3 times a year. And the meetings are right in the middle of the school day. Wrote in big letters. She doesn't like school, I think. I know all about student council because this 5th grader named Lamont, who walks me home, was on student council last year. Brian says the 2nd graders are too little to be on student council. But what does he know? I think I will be a very good helper with the bake sale and spaghetti night. And that is why I am running for student council. Running for student council doesn't mean you're really running on your 2 feet. It means you're trying out. There are 3 people who are trying out, but only one of us gets to be student council. The person who gets the most votes gets to be the 1 second, please. I just wanted to make sure. Picture. They're making her poster. Tiffany and Shay are best friends, and Royanne is new this year. If you want to be on student council, you have to make a poster saying why people should vote for you. And then you have to make a little speech about yourself. My best friend Eric came over last night to help me make my poster and write my speech. Eric lives in the apartment right above ours. Eric is not in my class. He is in the second grade class for boys. My class has all girls and no boys because our principal put boys and girls in different classrooms. Eric is not running for student council because his friend Chad promised to give him 2 brownies on Friday if Eric wouldn't run against him. My mom got a big piece of a poster board for me. I put the poster board on the kitchen table, and I got my markers and crayons out of my art box. Eric and I stared at the poster board for a while. We are trying to think up what to write. Chad already brought his poster in my class, Eric said. What did it say? I asked. It said, vote for Chad and you will be glad. Eric told me. That rhymes with Keena or Ford, Eric said. He got a piece of paper out of his backpack. Let's make a list of ideas, he said. I started saying words that rhymed with my last name, and Eric wrote them down. I said, snored, soared, roared, scored, and ignored. Lorda? Eric said. That doesn't really rhyme, I told him. We kept thinking. I've got it, I said. How about you won't be bored if you vote for Keena Ford? I like it, Eric said. We wrote the words carefully on the poster board. Then I drew a bunch of smiling kids. Look at the picture. Doesn't it look so cute? She's in the classroom. Eric drew one girl who was sleeping, then crossed her out to show that people would not be bored if they voted for me. I think that's a poster. After drawing for almost a whole hour, Eric's dad called and said it was time for Eric to come home. Thank you for your help, Eric, I said. Your poster looks very good, he told me. I think you will be the champion of the class election. Queen champion, I said. I hope so. When it was time for bed, I whispered my speech to myself 6 times to myself. Then as I fell asleep, I imagined what it would be like if I won. It would be so cool. This morning I brought my poster disc and showed it to the class. I was the first person to give my speech. I was very nervous. I couldn't really talk at first. I said. I looked out at my class and saw my friend Lenny Berry. She gave me a thumbs up, and I felt a little bit better. I'm Keena Ford, and I want you to be your student council person, I said. I pointed my finger and said, your. your. Which I had practiced. Then hold on. It's funny. Then I talked about how I would be a good listener and tried to stay out of time out so that I could go to the student council meetings. I also talked about how I could be a good helper at spaghetti night. Then Tiffany, Shay, and Roy Ann made their speeches. Tiffany said, "My name is Tiffany with a Y, and that, and the end, at the end. Why should you vote for me? For one thing, I think we should have a tea party instead of a holiday festival." Shay called out, "Hey, that's the stuff I was gonna say." "Shh," Miss Campbell said. But I read my speech to Tiffany on the phone, and she just said all of my ideas, Shay said. Then she started to cry. "Nuh-uh," Tiffany said. "I had already written my speech." When I heard Shay's. She told Mrs. Campbell. Miss Campbell told Shay that she was sure that Shay's speech was going to be very good, and that it was almost and it was almost time for her to say it. Tiffany said some more stuff. Then Shay got up and gave her speech. She had it written on little cards. She started with my name is Shay. My name is Shay with the Y. Why should you vote for me? Then she sniffed. Then she started sniffing like she was going to cry. She sniffed through the whole rest of her speech. I felt very sorry for Shay that Tiffany had copied her speech. But I still wanted to win the election. Roy Ann's speech was a lot like mine. She said she would listen to people's ideas because she wanted to make friends at her new school. Her poster did not say anything that rhymed, but it looked very neat. Roy Ann is very good at drawing. I know how to work the light. After Roy Ann's speech, Miss Campbell gave each student a little piece of paper. A little piece of paper called a ballot, where we write down our votes. I voted for myself, of course. Every girl has a journal, but mine is the only one with clouds on it. Oh, well, never mind. Now we are writing in our journals while Miss Campbell counts the votes. Every girl has a journal, but mine is the only one with clouds on it. And I am the only person who takes my journal everywhere. like to music class and timeout class when I get in trouble. Now, Miss Campbell is telling us to close our journals. She smiled right at me. I think I might be the champion. 4 p.m. That's the end of the chapter. Right now, I am going to squeeze in another book about another little black girl, so keep listening. But for now, it's going to be part 2. So